Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Soulful Soul. My name is Gladys, and this is your this is a weekly, midweek, one card draw. Midweek, I do a one card draw where I just explore that card, experience the card for the week ahead. And my invitation is for you to do the same. I find it to be very powerful and quite meaningful because I immerse myself in that card. Now, I didn't do one last week because I was away. I was with my dad. What I do is I reflect on the previous card, share my experiences of it, and then introduce you to a card for the week ahead, which you can work on with me. And you're also welcome to join me here if you wish. The card we got week before last was this one. It's the Tower, and it was the Tower in reverse. So what I did say then was perhaps, okay, firstly, let me talk about the Tower in the upright. Those who've been following will be quite familiar by now with the Tower because we've got it a lot this year, which is not surprising given COVID and the almost cataclysmic feeling that it's given many of us. But the Tower talks about a structure that needs to come down and which will come down. It's almost like an act of something higher that causes that Tower to come down quite suddenly. And the thing is, I think with the Tower, the warning is often that we see the signs, but we hold on and not want to let that Tower fall. But what it does talk about is a structure, whether it's a physical structure, or seldom a physical structure, but it's some kind of institution or a partnership. It could be work, it could be relationship, it could be a family structure, whatever the case might be, something that has been built on an unsteady foundation needs to come down so that rebuilding can happen, whether it's rebuilding on a new foundation or on a new structure or rebuilding on the same structure but laying a firmer foundation. So that's what the Tower means in the upright. But in the reverse, there were a couple of things that came to me, but one main big thing that I explored this time away. So one of the things I feel with the Tower in reverse is that the Tower, the structure, this coming down of something is not unexpected. It's something that you expect and you've seen it coming. Two, it might not feel so big. It might feel like, oh, okay, it's the right thing. Whereas often when the Tower does fall, in the like normally it's unexpected. That's the other thing about it. But in the reverse, it might be expected. The other thing that came to me is that it's slowly crumbling. So perhaps it's so slow that you cannot see it happening. So with it in the reverse, it's that slow falling. Okay, sorry. So it's that slow falling, which can sometimes be more treacherous, maybe. Eh? Whereas if it happens suddenly, you just have to deal with it. When it's slow, sometimes you might think, is it not happening? So, But now, so my experience of it, so this week going home was really lovely because, in fact, my mum passed away last year around this time in September. And, but going home was also about helping pack up. We have an old house. We've lived there for so long. In fact, it's my mum's childhood home. And in any case, you know how families accumulate things over time. And so I was helping to just clear some stuff there with my dad, but it was also it was about spending time with him, my son and I spending time with him, because we haven't seen him since lockdown. Anyway, it was quite you know, I really felt my mum around. I really felt her presence so strongly with me in a very healing way. I missed her so much, but in a healing way, you know, that kind of, those tears that are, those hot tears that are healing, you know, like healing the separation, healing the pain, all that. So, but also, I guess that was part, that was the main thing, you know. And I kept thinking, you know, the other thing that came to me was ancestors, and I'm going to link it all just now. My ancestors, my mum, the home, that was her childhood home. So her mum, my granny, and you know, I meant to take pictures of we live on, my home is on a mountain, my family home's on a mountain, so you can look out over the huge, vast panorama, you know, and it's beautiful, it's really beautiful and peaceful. And I meant to take some pics or something, but I didn't anyway. No, and I thought so much about how my granny looked over that vista. So did my mum. So do I. And mum used to love Easter, and she loved the sunrise, watching the sunrise over there. So it reminded me of those times, those special memories that we had, she and I in particular, of watching the Easter sunrise, you know. It was also Heritage Day, so here in South Africa. So naturally, I was thinking about my heritage, my ancestors, where I come from, and the pioneers before me. Like, I think my great granny and my granny were pioneers. So was my mum with my dad. You know, like they charted their own path, and even in their raising of us, my great granny. Was Swazi, and she was a princess. She was a sister of the queen, and she ran away with someone who worked for the king, a white man from the UK, and they eloped and went to live in a rural KwaZulu-Natal, which is where we live, my family home. We've lived all around those rural areas. And and then likewise, my granny then met also an English man and married him at a very young age. And my granny, I have lots of stories about my granny and how much of a pioneer, what an amazing, incredibly strong woman she was, how she did things despite what the gender norms were then. She'd go out hunting with the men. She drove a car when no other woman was driving a car. And there's this really lovely story about my granny that she went out hunting. I think she was 15, went out hunting with all the guys, with the trackers, with all these guys, these hunters. And they were attacked by a lion. A lion came for them. And to the man, they fled. And my granny waited, got down on her knee, lifted her rifle, and waited for the lion to charge. And as it roared, shot it in the mouth. So when I think about that, I feel really proud. And I feel proud of my mum and all that she, you know, of how proud she was and how she raised us, you know. Anyway, it's a long story, and it's about heritage, and it's about South African history, and it's about a lot of my mum's pain. I know she held a lot in that was to do with her own childhood traumas that came from race and from being othered and feeling unworthy, and yet she was so worthy, you know. At the same time, you know, that was the duality, you know, like feeling unworthy. I know my mum shared lots with me, and at the same time being so proud, you know. So my mum was principled. She had certain principles, and there was nothing that would sway her from those principles. And I loved and admired her for that. She and I were very different people. Like we had, my mum was really Christian, and here I am reading the tarot, and we clashed a lot. We fought a lot, but we had such a deep love for each other. Yeah, we had such a deep love for each other, and and that's the thing, that love is complex and it's beautiful and it's intense, eh? And that's how I miss my mother. I miss her, like, sometimes with such intensity, and I know my brothers do as well. But anyway, so what this tower made me think about with heritage and all that, that sometimes the tower is about an old home, a family structure that needs to come down now. It's changed now. One of the parents has gone, and the other one might have to move on. And so there's so many memories that we are now letting go of in the form of physical things, like old books and old clothes and towels and sheets and blankets and stuff that is not needed by that household that is no longer run by the mum in this case. Like there's so much that's different because she's not there. And likewise, if Dad had been the one that went first, there would be so much different because he wasn't there. They played such different roles, but such foundational roles. And that's the thing. Mum having gone, it's shifted the foundation somewhat. One, yeah, it's shifted the foundations. And two, there's this letting go that now needs to happen of that structure in its physical form, maybe, but the structure in its spiritual form is still there. And that's how deep this tower was for me, this tower in the reverse. And so I would like to invite you to keep thinking about that tower, like, what is your tower in the reverse? What is your deep relationship with the tower right now? What is going on for you? And the term that came up for me was throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That saying is about not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about saying what needs to go, what needs to stay. And in this case, while Dad might sell our house and our home, that might need to go because the house it's not right anymore for him and for us, maybe. But what stays is the memories, and what stays is some of the old stuff. But what goes is all that is not needed because we still have the memories, right? So it was really deep for me. So I wonder if you can think about what's tower for you might need, it's almost like a structure needing to shift. A relationship needing to change, maybe, whether it's with a parent or a child, between a parent and a child. It could be between two partners, one who's trying to grow and might feel trapped in the relationship. Not in the relationship, but trapped because the relationship is not shifting and not meeting their needs. It could be like an institution where an institution doesn't fit your needs anymore, because you have moved beyond or have other ideas of what your needs are. So it's about looking at all of that. For me, what's profound about this tower in reverse that I learned from this engagement was that being able to, one, sift through what is necessary and what is not necessary now. In other words, the whole tower doesn't have to, the whole structure doesn't have to go, but there might be certain elements that do. And the other is about, and the other thing is this really, really deep thing, I think, that the structure might have to, even if the structure is released in the physical, that doesn't mean that it's released in our memories, in our hearts, in our spirit. Okay, so that's the tower. for this last week, and I thought it was really powerful. And I hope that I've captured everything that, well, the devil wanted to come out, but cards are flying out. Let's see what needs to come out for the week ahead. So this flew out, so I picked it up in the reverse. So it could be either way. So I will look at it in both ways. Love abounds. And this is the Ace of Cups. So it's not my intention to talk about the Ace of Cups now. Well, not to talk deep. Anyway, so this is the Ace of Cups, which I'm sure most of you know. It's like an offer of love. It's about love openings, love offers, love new beginnings around love. And it could also talk about endings and letting go. Okay, so let's see what happens for the week ahead.